April 11th, 1978 was a warm but cloudy day.
Tired of hanging out around their parents' houses, local teenagers decided to drive out to Plum Island to enjoy the scenery.
They saw more than they bargained for. The four drove out to Parker River Wildlife Refuge, which is on the southern part of the island. The refuge is composed of more than 4,500 acres of pristine marshes, forests, and beaches. Deer, ducks, and other wildlife call the area home, as do ferocious greenhead flies in the summer. On that April day, the teenagers didn't see any wildlife at all. At first, they didn't notice. They were too busy walking along the path, climbing the observation tower, and enjoying one another's company. But after a while they were sitting up in the tower, they noticed how quiet it was. They didn't hear any birds. They didn't hear any other people. The only thing they heard was a strange clicking sound, which seemed to be coming from somewhere nearby.
The teens continued to sit up in the tower. They heard the clicking go on for a while, and then it abruptly stopped.
That's when they started hearing the shrieks. Like the clicks, the shrieks were coming from somewhere close to the tower. They were high-pitched and came in short bursts. They weren't made by a human crying out for help, but sounded like they were made by something else. But what exactly? They could have been coming from a large animal, but the four teenagers couldn't see anything nearby. The shrieks certainly didn't sound like anything the four had ever encountered before. By this point, the teens decided it was time to leave, and they hurried back to their car.
The first time I heard about Bigfoot was on the television show called Believe It or Not or something like that. And it was back in 1978. I was a freshman and he was in Northern America. And the first sighting was in Washington, and then there was another sighting on the East Coast. So in 78 I was a freshman here and I played baseball. So we always practiced down the lower field. And one day during practice, we could see the weeds and the grass just moving. We thought it was hunters out there or something, because we used to go swimming back there after practice. So we go back there and we see these big footprints. We're like, what the heck? They were like size 22s. They were monstrous. And they were deep in the ground, so whoever made those footprints, it was deep. So it was like a month later, we were back out there again, and we saw the grass moving. And then all of a sudden, we see something just stand up, look around, jumped in the water. There's a lot of fish in the water out there. And he just went upstream and off he went.
Yeah, so I grew up on Plum Island, and when I was younger, I used to always be very curious about things that were happening because things were just weird. We had a chicken coop in our yard at the time, and I remember it was raining that night before. I just remember going out the next morning to get some eggs and to check in on the chickens, let them out for the day. And I could just see that some of the chickens were gone. There was feathers on the ground and it looked like something had gotten at them, but it wasn't like a coyote or anything like that. It was definitely big.
As they went down the road, two boys in the front saw something emerge from the bushes and run across the road.
The figure that crossed was huge, 7 feet or more, very wide, all black from head to toe. It was a little hunched forward as it walked upright. Notice its arms were average as they swung and it walked.
The thing had to be 7.5, 8 feet tall.
I'm convinced that Bigfoot is absolutely a thing and is around. I haven't had any confirmed sightings, but I do have my suspicions. I believe there's something there.